Jeopardy! Host Ken Jennings has opened up about one of the cushiest parts of hosting the beloved game show during a new interview. Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos welcomed Ken on their live talk show on Tuesday to discuss what it's like to work on such an iconic program, and he gave all the details. To promote the Jeopardy! Masters tournament that began airing this week, Ken has been making the rounds on the biggest talk shows. During his live appearance on Tuesday, Kelly wanted to know all about the game show's shooting schedule. Ken lives in Seattle but films in Los Angeles. "I commute," he told her, before adding that it's not that bad because it's a short flight. He went on to reveal that the dirty secret about Jeopardy that makes his trips to film the show even easier. "We do like 5 in a day. Like a full week of Jeopardy," Ken revealed. Kelly and Mark clapped for that revelation, as the actress gushed that sounded like the best schedule ever. Ken admitted, "It is pretty cushy. I come down for a day or two. We do 10 shows, boom boom boom." The game show star explained how it works. The host changes his tie. The contestant who won changes their outfit, and them unlike, on yesterday's program. It wasn't yesterday. It was like 10 minutes ago. While Kelly and Mark don't shoot 5 episodes of their talk show in a day, they do know a bit about saying it's a specific date on the show but actually filming it on a completely different date. Fans are used to this when it comes to Jeopardy, but they have not been happy about it when it comes to Kelly and Mark's talk show, as live is part of the title and a key element of the program. The hosts have come under fire for airing more than a handful of previously recorded episodes recently, especially as Mark has only just taken over as co-host from Ryan Seacrest. After hosting with Ryan for 6 years, Kelly welcomed her husband as her new, permanent co-host last month. Viewers have been blasting the new version of the show, Live with Kelly and Mark, for often pre-taping its episodes. The hosts act like the show is live by saying the correct date at the start of the show, as they would for a normal episode. But at the bottom of the screen, there's a notice that indicates shows in caps that the show was previously recorded. One upset fan wrote after seeing the notice, "When they changed the host name, they should have changed the title of the program to Pre-Recorded with Kelly and Mark." Another tweeted, "At Kelly Mark Live Here We Go, it's not live, at least not today. Going down." A third commented, "This is so horrible. I can't believe you're trying to fool people. People are not stupid. Painful to sit though, honestly." A fourth wrote, "Nice 5-day weekend, pre-recorded Thursday, Friday and Monday. Keep it up and you'll have a permanent 7-day weekend." The U.S. Sun recently reported that showrunners had even filmed multiple episodes 2 months in advance. On April 26, Live with Kelly and Mark pre-taped the June 19 episode. Then, on April 27, production filmed the episode that is scheduled to air on June 26. Ken Jennings sat back in his chair on the set of Jeopardy, as the bright studio lights beamed down on him. The cameras weren't rolling yet, but he couldn't help but grin to himself. As the reigning champion turned host, Jennings had grown comfortable in his role, stepping into the shoes once worn by the late Alex Trebek. But today, as he waited for the show to begin taping, he found himself reflecting on a question he had been asked by fans for years: what's the hardest part of hosting Jeopardy? It was a question that always made him laugh a little. But deep down, Ken Jennings had a little secret, one that he had been holding onto for years. And it wasn't just about his experiences behind the Jeopardy podium. It was about the dirty secret of Jeopardy itself, something he had realized during his tenure as host, and now, he was ready to admit it. As the studio's producers signaled to Ken that they were ready to begin, he adjusted his tie and took a sip of water. The audience settled in, and the familiar theme music played, bringing a sense of nostalgia to the room. Ken took his place at the podium, flashing his signature grin. After the taping ended, and the energy in the room began to settle, Ken lingered on set a little longer than usual. A few of the production crew approached him, curious to chat. They had seen him do this before. Sometimes Ken liked to hang around, take photos with fans, and interact with the crew. He was just that kind of guy. But today, there was something different about his demeanor. "Hey, Ken," one of the crew members said with a grin. "What's the secret to making this gig look so easy?" You make hosting Jeopardy seem like the easiest job in the world. Ken chuckled, leaning on the podium. You know what? That's because it is. Hosting Jeopardy is the cushiest gig in television. The crew laughed, thinking he was joking. But Ken's expression remained sincere, and he leaned in, lowering his voice as if he was about to reveal a closely guarded truth. Seriously, you guys, Ken said, glancing around the set. There's a dirty little secret about Jeopardy that nobody talks about, and it's this: hosting this show is nowhere near as tough as people think. In fact, it's the cushiest thing I've ever done. The crew exchanged glances, intrigued. They couldn't believe it. How could the host of one of the most intellectual and challenging shows on television call it cushy? Think about it, Ken continued. I mean, the hardest part for me was competing as a contestant, right? That's where the real pressure is. But hosting? It's like I've been handed the answers to every question in the game. I already know what the contestants are going to say, and all I have to do is read from a card and keep things moving. He smiled, his blue eyes twinkling with mischief. It's like being in on a cheat code. You know all the answers, you don't have to worry about the buzzer, and no one expects you to get anything wrong. The crew laughed again, this time a little louder. It was hard to argue with Ken's logic. Hosting Jeopardy did sound pretty cushy when he put it like that. But there's more to it, Ken said, growing more animated. The real secret, the thing that makes this job so cushy, is that I get to watch other people sweat. I'm not the one on the hot seat anymore. I don't have to worry about racking my brain for the right answer. I get to stand here, cool and collected, while the contestants are the ones feeling the pressure. He paused for a moment, a sly smile creeping across his face. And you know what the best part is? I still get to look like the smartest guy in the room. The crew erupted into laughter. They knew Ken was humble at heart, but there was a certain truth to what he was saying. As the host, he got to bask in the glow of Jeopardy's intellectual prestige without breaking a sweat. Ken leaned back against the podium, arms crossed, clearly enjoying the moment. But don't get me wrong, he added. There's an art to it, too. You've got to be able to keep the show moving, keep the contestants comfortable, and, most importantly, make sure you don't give away too much. It's all about finding that balance between